Be strong.
Well, a very, very happy Wednesday, June the 8th. Good morning to you guys. Welcome you guys back to another episode of the Throw-In with Justin. I'm Justin. You guys are listening to us through the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. So if you guys are watching us live now, thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to tell everyone. If you guys can't, please download and listen to us on the audio platforms. I'm still working on that as kind of took a break a little yesterday as soon as I got off the show. So I'm going to catch all that back up today right after this program, get you guys all set up and ready to go so that you guys could download the Throw-In. It says that according to the Spreaker that I have, it says that the distribution is already available on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, as of right now. Apple Podcast is going to probably be probably take a moment to do. I just wanted to see if I could pump this up on Spotify really quick. So bear with me. There we go. Yeah. So I do have it on Spotify now. You can just type in the Throw-In with Justin. It's the Throw-In with the / mark for Justin. So the Throw-Ins W/Justin, and you could check out all. I only have one episode up for now, but you could download the other episodes a little later on today when I get them uploaded on the on my page there. If you guys also want to invite you guys out, if you guys support the channel, you guys want to get to the wear some of the merchandise around, I encourage you guys to come in and head on over to TeePublic to get some merchandise. If you head over to our YouTube page, you can find all the details in the description for our merchandise page through TeePublic. We got t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, phone cases. I still have this one, this old phone case right up here as well, and much more other things that you guys could collect and use and keep and whatnot to make to wear our product around proud. All right, we got a busy day on a Wednesday. Like I said, our week is going to be cut short. I have a doctor's later on this on Friday, so I'm not going to be here on Friday to do a show for you guys. We're still making the transition into doing a show early in the mornings. The goal is to be able to do a show from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Gives me enough time to get things done. Right now, we're going to work on even doing a show earlier tomorrow, so we don't know quite yet. But just kind of bear with us over this next few days as we kind of get our feet wet with our new show with the Throw-In with Justin on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. While we do that, but it's been an incredible week already. We've had a lot of great conversations. Last night, NXT 2.0. I get those mixed hits and waves of why or not why, but of things to watch out for when it comes down to NXT 2.0. You had In Your House a couple of days ago, followed by the Aftermath, and I was glad that I was able to tune into a little bit of it, kind of checked up on the highlights. A couple interesting things came out of NXT 2.0 that we will cover a little later on in our program. You got to enjoy when you are a baseball fan and you're covering local baseball to see your local baseball team pick up, a pretty impressive victory last night with the Reds and the Diamondbacks, game 2 of a 4-game series. And, they it looks like they handled themselves pretty well. I don't want to get too carried away with what they're how they're playing. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 14-8 last night. You got to see the bats fly off the ball. 16 hits for the Reds. Joey Votto, another impressive night. 2 for 4, 2 runs, 3 RBIs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. But he also hit another solo home run. I believe this is now 5 over the last 6 games that he's hitting a home run for. Very impressive on a hot streak there. Tommy Pham got put the shillelagh to the ball there here also last night. 2 for 4, 3 runs, 1 RBI, 1 walk, one home run as well. Tyler Stevenson, 3 run blast late in the innings. He was 2 for 5, 1 run, 3 RBIs, 1 strikeout, a home run as well. Brandon Drury, Reynolds also got a fair share of that of the long ball there. Ashcraft, another picked up victory. He goes to 3-0, 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 no walks, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts in last night's ball game. Another great performance. While the opponents over in Arizona, Gilbert only went 1 2/3 of an inning, 5 hits, 7 runs allowed, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Picked up the loss in yesterday's game. When you go 6 innings, you pick out a shutout. You kind of expect or anticipate the ball club to win. There's multiple factors that you do expect when you are. In order to win a ball game, you need your starting pitcher to pitch solid 6 7 innings of complete ball game, and that's what Ashcraft did last night. 6 innings, no runs allowed. That is a win for me in my books. As well as you want a good start from your starting rotation to come out and pitch a solid outing. You also need a good outing from your offensive side. You need to get runs on the board very early in the game. Also, you see that last night with Joey Votto, Tommy Pham, Tyler Stevenson. But in order to complete the entire game, okay, you need to have a great bullpen that you can trust going into the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, that can only give up, maybe 1, 2, at most 3 runs, in an outing, because you can't expect your offense to put up 14 points or 14 runs each and every night. So and I think that's the only thing that's right now is a big struggle right now. When you look at the Reds roster, you look at how they're playing. Yes, they're picking up victories, but a lot of those victories are coming off of really good outings from starting pitchers. You have really good offensive power coming out from your position players. Is the bullpen that's really dragging along. Solomon, the guy who I mentioned back on Monday that got brought up in replacement of Vladimir Gutierrez, he only goes 2/3 of an inning last night, getting his first outing. He gives up 3 hits, 5 runs with the walk. Kuno finishes off going 1 1/3 inning, giving up 4 hits, 3 runs. Over those 2 innings alone, okay, they do a combination of 8 runs and 7 hits with a walk, and that coming out of your bullpen is just honestly unacceptable. Moving forward, now I don't understand at the beginning of the season with the injuries of Luis Castillo, Mike Minor, you still had problems. You had Hunter Green, Ashcraft kind of making their way in. Gutierrez takes a couple weeks to get it. I understand that, but you overworked your bullpen earlier on this season. Now you're getting all your starting pitchers to come back. You see a great performance last night with Ashcraft, the night before with Hunter Green. You're coming into the top of the rotation again with Mike Minor coming in to today's game. You're going to be able to see Tyler Mahle finish off the series tomorrow afternoon before they hit on a 3-game series starting, I believe, with Luis Castillo on the mound. But you gotta help. This bullpen has to find their way in, and to be able to complete these ball games. If these pitchers are going 6 7 innings, only giving up 1 to 2 runs, and your offense could pull together 4 or 5 runs, which is average, your bullpen has to be able to close those games out. I don't know how many more times this bullpen can be saved based off of how great the offense is playing. So looking into today's game, Arizona sitting at 26-31 takes on the Cincinnati Reds 20-35. Cincinnati still in last place in their division. First pitch is at 6:40. We got Morel Kelly on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He's 4 for 3 with 3.6 ERA, taking on Mike Minor, his second outing of the 2022 season. He lost his last time out against the Washington Nationals. His ERA sits at 11.25. Nothing to be worried about. I'm expecting him to take at least another month and a half at the major league level before we start actually seeing some real numbers from him. Same thing that went down with Luis Castillo when he came back. You got to understand that he took a little extra time coming back through his injury. They were expected him to be back in the middle of May. Took a whole nother month to come back. The good news coming out of yesterday, besides the Cincinnati Reds winning 14-8, you have to consider is the rest of the division lost as well. Chicago got beat by the Orioles 9-3. Detroit beat the Pirates 5-3. Tampa Bay took care of business in Tampa, beating the Cardinals 4-2. Philadelphia beat the Milwaukee Brewers 3-2 last night. As we head into to Wednesday, I know it doesn't do a lot of damage, but I mentioned this back on back yesterday morning that you want to expect you need some sort of motivation, some sort of a couple games where you come in, get on a roll, get on a streak, and get the entire team rolling. And with the entire division losing last night, with a couple nice wins after falling short to the Nationals over this past weekend, I'm not preaching too much, but there is a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of hot roll going on. Hopefully, the Reds can capitalize on that as well. All right, we will be looking into the Game 3 of the NBA Finals a little later on today. Golden State Warriors over in Boston. We'll get you set up for that. The NHL playoffs still about as well. We'll dive into a little bit of NXT 2.0 last night, and we'll also get you ready for the AEW Dynamite. While we're still waiting to find out the interim AEW World Champion that was announced earlier last week after CM Punk had to step away as a champion because he got injured earlier last week. So we will find out. I'll get to revisit all those details and much more. All right, let's take a time out here on the throw-in, right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Well, when I woke up, she was looking at me. She told me I've been cheating on her in her dream. Lord, it wasn't a thing I could do or say.
10:17 here on a Wednesday morning. Thank you guys for tuning in to the throw-in right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I'm Justin. I'll take you up until high noon here as we cover and break down, get you guys ready for Wednesday's action. Like I said, I will be back again tomorrow morning, and then we will have a 3-day weekend thanks to a doctor's appointment I have on Friday morning as well. We just got done covering the Cincinnati Reds to open up the show. And the victory last night, 14-8 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. They go off again today, playing starting at 6:40, Game 3. Then they'll have an afternoon game on a 4-game series tomorrow afternoon. 2 back-to-back 4-game series at home. Turning back that stretch time here, they went 1-3 over the Washington Nationals this past weekend, and then they picked up the first 2 right now. So they're sitting right now at this home series at a 3-3. I would like to see them complete and go 5-3, if not 4-4 at least, doesn't really make any marks if they lose 2 games or even tie the series. So it would be a great opportunity, very crucial opportunity. You got to think of that with Mike Minor, you got Tyler Malley. These are really two more of your comfortable pitchers that you expect to perform well. And you kind of expect them to come in here and pick up a series sweep at this moment. But Mike Minor's second outing of the season. I don't know what to expect. I don't think that. I don't know. The last thing you want to do is go get too deep into the bullpen. So hopefully, go another 5 innings tonight, and then the bats could keep on swinging tonight as we carry it over from last night as well. I mean, I wish I could have took a couple of those 14 runs and bring them into the night to help Mike Minor out as well. I think the key thing is for Mike Minor and for the Reds tonight is if you could get out there to an early lead, will help Mike Minor out tremendously, help him go settle in for 5, hopefully maybe 6 innings, and then turn it over to the bullpen, and hopefully that confidence could lead into the bullpen to help them close out a victory tonight. But we'll see on that. A person I want to give a shout out to, I forgot, I was reading this yesterday after the show, and I'm surprised I missed on this. Can you give out congratulations to Eduardo Escobar, who completes the cycle in the 9th inning with the 9th inning triple back on Monday night against the Padres. They picked up a victory, a final score 7-5, with 2 runs, with 2 outs in the 9th inning on a Monday night. On a 1-2 count, Escobar hit a triple in order to complete his cycle, which, for baseball reference, that's a single, double, a triple, and a home run all in a single game. Eduardo Escobar becomes the 11th Mets player in franchise history to hit for the cycle, and the first since Scott Harrison back on April 27, 2012. So it's been nearly over a decade, and that was against the Colorado Rockies. So congratulations out to Eduardo Escobar. That's always a milestone on someone's career. While we're in the baseball conversation, a couple other things I wanted to just pay attention to. Something we'll get more into a little bit more tomorrow morning is National Steven Strasburg to make his season debut Thursday after missing over a year of action. Steven Strasburg was out since June 1st, 2021 last season before undergoing surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome. He was out for a year. He'll be making his return here as well. Strasburg could provide a boost to the Nationals team that's been in the National League East cellar since April 22nd. In rehab starts on May 29th in Low A Fredericksburg, Strasburg allowed no hits and a walk while striking out 6 batters over 5 innings. He's also threw a bullpen session on Monday. I may be a little bit biased here, but I am going to be tuning into Thursday's game with the Steven Strasburg just because he is also a San Diego native. It's been a long road back for Steven Strasburg. 19, he went 18-6 with a 3.32 ERA, 251 strikeouts. He was leading, in innings and with 209. He's arguably even better in October than throughout the regular season. All right. So we'll be paying attention to that as we approach tomorrow as the Nationals get ready for Strasburg's return. Also, some news. Actually, this was breaking news that came out yesterday, right after we went off of the air. But Joe Madden also was let go by the Los Angeles Angels after a midst of a 12-game losing streak. I've never thought in my lifetime I would see a manager as successful and as talented as Joe Madden to be released by any organization. He went into the Los Angeles Angels organizations a few years back and hasn't had great success with the Angels yet, still trying to develop them, still trying to build them. Doesn't happen over over 1 year. But they announced. I want to say what was this? It was announced on Tuesday afternoon. Joe Madden has been relieved of his duties. The third base coach Phil Nevin will serve as an interim manager for the remainder of the 2022 seasons. Madden's firing comes after the heels of the Angels' 12 straight loss Monday night, a 1-0 defeat over Boston Red Sox at home. I'm a little disappointed to see I don't know where what could possibly lead for Joe Madden down the road. I'm sure he'll probably get another opportunity with another organization at some point. I do want to give props to to the Angels announcing and letting Phil Nevin being able to serve as the interim manager for the remainder of the season. I know we're only in June. You still got July, August, and September. Doesn't make sense to hire a new manager outside the organization just because you already have a system in place. Phil Nevin being a third base coach already existence. He knows how the organization is running. He knows how to run it. Earlier this year, with Bob Melvin going over to San Diego, we got to see Mark Kotze, a former Padres player, getting a chance to manage a ball club. You're seeing Will Venable also get opportunities. Now to see Phil Nevin getting opportunities, I love to see. It's always satisfying to see former Padres players getting the opportunity to go back and manage and be a part of baseball once more on the other side of the field there. So Phil Nevin, I'm sure he'll do a decent job being an interim head manager for the Angels. Yeah, I mean and that's the other thing. The Angels got off to a decent start, and with this 12-game loss, apparently it was good enough to let Joe Madden go, unfortunately. So we'll see on that. All right. Pulling up the news. Since we're in baseball, we're just going to jump right over to the NFL. And, this has actually came out, a while ago. But it was made official that Broncos winning bid. Remember the Denver Broncos selling their franchise, and it came up to the highest bid. And there was a lot of people that was in consideration to be owning the Denver Broncos. And it was Walmart's here. Rob Walton has been making a lot of headline news over the last weekend. Because he's set to purchase the Denver Broncos NFL team for a record-setting price. Right now, this is a team that this team could be bid for the highest price of them all. For the first time since 1984, the Denver Broncos is going to have a new owner. The Broncos announced on Tuesday night that they have entered into the purchase and sale agreement with the Waltons Penner family to acquire the team. The purchase group is led by Walmart here, Rob Walton, who will be taking over the ownership of the team along with his daughter, Carrie Walton Penner, and his son-in-law, Greg Penner. All right. The sale calls for Walton's Penner family to acquire the team from the Pat Bowlen Trust in the move that will need to be approved by the NFL's Finance Committee and league's ownership before it becomes finalized. But at this point, both of those things should just be formalities. And that was coming from CBS headlines here in an article. I was reading it. It's going to be different. I don't know what a Walmart franchise has to do with the NFL team. It's going to be weird to see. I guess it's going to be all about who has the deeper pockets, but and it's going to be interesting because this family is now going to come and acquire a new quarterback in Russell Wilson, who got picked up by the Broncos earlier this offseason as well. All right, well, let's take another break and time out. When we come back, we will jump into and get you guys ready for the NBA as the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors head into Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That's all coming your way here on the Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a shout out to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the Throw-In and all shows on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. StreamYard Studios, where you can create podcasts, YouTube videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct your interviews. Check out StreamYard.com and try out the free version today. The Wednesday morning we have here on a Throw-In with Justin. Thank you guys for tuning in again. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter as well, thank you. All right, let's kind of continue with some sports highlights around the world before we jump into wrestling, because that's a whole nother entity of its own. Tiger Woods skips the U.S. Open at the Country Club. Still plans on playing British Open at St. Andrews. Day after it was announced, this is actually an article coming from CBS.com, CBSSports.com, under the section of golf. After a day it was announced that Tiger Woods turned down the high 9-figure offer from LIV Golf. He disclosed that he's also turning down his spot in the 2022 U.S. Open at the Country Club. Woods, who played both the Masters and PGA Championship, will turn his focus to the Open Championship at St. Andrews. And a quote that he made: "I previously informed the USGA that I will not be competing in the U.S. Open as my body needs more time to get stronger for major championship golf." Woods tweeted also, "I do hope to and plan to be ready to play in the Ireland at JP McManus Pro-Am and the Open next month. I am excited to get back out there soon." I think at this point, coming into understanding what Tiger Woods has been through over the last several years, and understanding his conditions, it was just a miracle. It was just also so satisfying to see Tiger Woods just make it back out to the golf course. Now, you can't expect him to be at every tournament and not perform at every major tournament as well. So, this moving forward, his tournaments are going to be selective, and it should be he should be able to compete in what he wants to compete in. So, just thought to share with everyone as well. We head over to before we head to NBA, we head over to the NHL playoffs as well. The New York Rangers fall short to the Tampa Bay Lightning's 4-1. Series gets tied at 2 apiece after the Rangers get up 2-0 in the beginning of the series. They will have Game 5 on Thursday, and then they will have Game 6 on Saturday. And if there's a Game 7, they will have a Game 7 later. So I'll get you guys up to date on that. The Colorado Avalanche sweeps the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals in Turner's allotment of NHL playoff games this season, and the results were positive for broadcasting debut year. Article also given to you on Awful Announcing. Games NHL Western Conference Finals averaged 1.8 million viewers, best since 2015. Colorado's 4-game triumph averaged 1.8 million views on TNT, per sources say. That is the best for the Western Conference Finals since 2015, when the Blackhawks and the Ducks average 2.47 million viewers. At some point right now, it feels like hockey is starting to come back to a rise. People are finding more interest. I went to and I would actually testify to that if there was an NHL team down here, which the only thing that we have in our area is the Cincinnati Cyclones. I would honestly be a part of watching the NHL. The closest thing we have are the Columbus Blue Jackets, and for me, that's just not good enough. I would be tuning in more if there was more of a local team in that case. So, but congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche as they wait for the to compete in the Stanley Cup Finals. They will be taking on the winners of the New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightnings. So you can see them. They have over a week off of action, and I think that once in a while, too much time off can actually end up hurting a team's ability to capitalize on a championship. So we'll see how this turns out to affect. But coming into tonight, we have some NBA action going on after having a couple of days off. The Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics get ready to make way at 9 p.m. tonight. They'll be taking place in Boston tonight for Game 3. Series tied at 1. While we had the Boston Celtics beat the Warriors back on Game 1, 120 to 108. The Warriors were able to find gripe to come back and destroy the Celtics 107 to 88. They take on Game 3 tonight in Boston. Game 4 will be played on Friday, and Game 5 will be played on Monday back in San Francisco. Two of the guys to keep a lookout here throughout the Boston and Warriors series, Stephon Curry and Jason Tatum continues to meet eye to eye, both averaging about 26 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, and 6 assists per game as well. Pretty leveled out for both teams. I'm expecting the series to continue to go back and forth, one apiece, until I'm calling for Game 7 in this best of 7 series. CBS Sports has put out there 2 things the Celtics need to correct in order to bounce back in Game 3 versus the Warriors. It looked like, Boston went into to San Francisco and beat the Warriors 120 to 108 in Game 1, which the Warriors had a 9 consecutive home game winning streak going on before Boston put an end to that in the postseason, and then the Warriors came back and handled business. And for a moment, it seems like Golden State Warriors does what they do best in the postseason. They dominate. I was told this over a month ago that there is a different atmosphere or energy level for the Warriors compared to the season. They don't have to go. They don't have to go an incredible record during the regular season and carry that over to the playoffs. The Warriors were a team that I was skeptic going into the postseason, but as soon as the NBA postseason started, the Warriors just continued to excel, and it was like this is a team that was unstoppable. I mean, look at the Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks. These are teams that, at least throughout the regular season, they were better than the Golden State Warriors. But now Golden State Warriors find themselves in Game 3, having that 1 series tied. Boston needs to find a way to come back. They've been sketchy all postseason long. They've been finding a way to stay alive. One thing that, according to CBS writer Michael Blumen, one thing that he suggests that needs to happen for the Celtics is the limited turnovers. The formula has been pretty simple for the Celtics in these playoffs. When they take care of the ball, they win. When they don't take care of the ball, they don't win. Right? They're 12-2, including 7 straight wins when they turn over the ball when they turn the ball over fewer than 15 times. For example, okay, they only had 12 turnovers in game 1 against the Golden State Warriors. They were able to walk away with the win on that. All right. However, the Celtics were just 1-5 when they turned the ball over more than 15 times. And you think about that, 1-5. You turn over the ball, compared to game 2, they turned over the ball 19 times. They lost against the Warriors. If you do that three more times, you lose the series. And the odds are in that favor there. All right. Including 15 live ball turnovers, those errors led to 33 points off turnovers for the Warriors, and that was a major factor in the outcome back on game 2. The Celtics know that they have to do better or to be better, in their own arena for game 3 beyond, but they don't. They got more to worry about. All right, so I'm just reading this here with you. All right, so according to Michael Blumen, who is a writer for CBS Sports, okay, limited turnovers is number 1. 15 is the number to keep an eye on for game 3 if Boston could keep its turnovers under control. It's maximize its chances to taking a 2-1 lead over the series, and every game counts, especially now the fact that we're back in Boston. Coming in into number 2, the second opinion that Michael thinks here: perform better in the third quarter. You can't play half a ball game, and I think that is safe to say among everybody, any team. You can't, in baseball, you play 27 outs. You don't play 8 innings of baseball. You don't play, only offense only. You got to play to the outs. In football, you don't play 3 quarters of football. You got to play all 4 quarters. As a matter of fact, you get trained. I know these guys, they get trained to play 5 quarters of football, including overtime. NBA, the same thing too. I feel like, especially with Boston, one thing I noticed is that, at least in the NBA playoffs this year, that is a lot of teams like to stop, putting the gas on the throttle, or putting the foot on the throttle, in the third quarter, and then they play the catch-up game in the fourth quarter, and it's not good enough. All right, especially for the Celtics. Michael says the third quarter has not been kind to the Celtics so far this series. In game 1, they were outscored 34-24 in the third, even though they were ultimately able to pull off a win behind an incredible fourth quarter performance. In game 2, they were outscored 35-14 in the third quarter. In total, they have been outscored 35 points, 73-38 in the 2 third quarters combined alone. The Warriors are notoriously dangerous in the third quarter as a third quarter team, but Boston simply needs to be better in that frame. The issue isn't limited to just this series. After all, the Celtics have been outscored at least 14 points 14 times in the third quarter throughout these playoffs, including game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat. They were outscored 25 points in the third quarter of that contest. We'll keep on reading. Turnovers are a part of the problem for the Boston Celtics, as are laps in defense intensity, according to Jason Tatum. Okay, he wrote a statement, and I think tonight turnovers, and I think sometimes letting our offense affect how we defend kind of was a little stagnant to the third quarter. Tatum said in game 2 against the Golden State Warriors that he felt like it translated on the defensive end, and it got going, and it hit shot, and hitting shots was just, and things like that. In a line. All right, we know the key of the game here for the remainder of the series, after seeing the 2 evidence over the last 2 quarters, or the last 2 games. Third quarters belong to the Golden State Warriors. They're outshooting them, they're outscoring them double the amount of points in the third quarter, making it difficult for the Celtics to make a comeback in the fourth quarter. You got 2 options. All right, either you crack down and you built the intensity in the fourth quarter or in the third quarter by stopping the Warriors and putting up points yourself, putting up the same amount of points, or two, you don't let them get to, you got to get that 35-point lead that the Warriors come back in the third quarter. It is difficult, okay, especially at this part of the series, to get behind in a fourth quarter and have to make a comeback. Right? It's more difficult, especially when you're facing the Golden State Warriors, to have a lead in the third quarter, get brought down and lose the lead by the fourth quarter and have to make a comeback. Because the Golden State Warriors have that extra level, have that extra gear that they put into place to kick off the second half. Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics Game 3 tonight. And I'm wondering if the Celtics have what it takes to continue to pull this off. Because, like I mentioned, we just know how good the Golden State Warriors are in the postseason. We know what the Celtics have struggled all postseason long, especially in the third quarter, which I believe the third quarter is that, you're hitting the nail to the coffin if you could close out the third quarter. And I believe that if the Celtics could take advantage of the third, the thing is, Boston knows what the problem is. They know where they're struggling at. Okay, they picked up that first game of the win, and maybe I'm kind of buying into that first game where I believe that the Celtics have a chance, and the fact that they're in Boston for the next two games over this weekend, I'm confident that the Celtics could pull off at least a victory. But you don't want to go 2-2 headed back to San Francisco. You don't want to go 2-2 into the series, giving Golden State Warriors an ability to pick up a victory at home in Game 5. These two games for Boston is more crucial now than they have been ever. If you want to get the opportunity to win the NBA Finals this season. I told you that this series was probably one of my favorite series going into the NBA playoffs, because each time I think of Boston, I've always think of the Boston and Lakers, rivalry that they've had. I think of a decade ago over a decade ago, 12 years ago, when the Celtics and the Lakers met each other in the finals. And then when you want to compare and throw the Golden State Warriors, who have dominated the NBA over the last decade, Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors, for me, is a much more entertaining matchup than any other team that met in the playoffs. Even that includes the Miami Heat, that includes the Phoenix Suns, and so forth. And now we're finally getting to see that, and we do see where the struggles are. Okay, Boston's been able to overcome them, and that's why they're in the finals. Are they going to be able to overcome the Golden State Warriors, who are at a different level in the postseason, just in general? Let's take a quick break and wrap up hour number one here on the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Ten toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Everything I do for the gang. Ten toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money.
All right, this hour of the throw-in is brought to you by SeatGeek. Before you guys buy your next ball game tickets, baseball, football, hockey, before you guys go your next concert this summer, be sure to check out SeatGeek.com. And when you guys spend $50 or more on your first purchase, you guys can save 20% off by using promo code TNC Sports Talk. That is 20% off on your first purchase by using promo code TNC Sports Talk at SeatGeek.com.
My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the game. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing.
Got to get a chance to talk about the Cincinnati Reds and some baseball news. Got a chance to talk about the NFL a little bit, NBA basketball game 3. We also got a chance to talk about NHL and a little bit more stuff. Before we head to the top of the hour, this is what we're looking into, things that we could possibly, that we will be talking in hour number 2. I want to go over some of the things that happened in NXT 2.0. I know that this isn't a big conversation. We don't. Our show doesn't always cover hot topics, but one of the biggest things that we were getting concerned about, that we were worried about in NXT 2.0 is that we watched In Your House a couple days ago, back on Saturday. Braun Breaker retains his title. Carmelo Hayes, captures once again the North American Championship, which, by the way, Cameron Grimes only gets a short title run from the last event that they've had. And a couple of things that I try to compare yesterday to. Could you consider, or do you consider, a fraction like Toxic Attraction unstoppable, as at the level of the Bloodline? You think at what the Bloodline has accomplished over this past year, and where they have leveled at the level that they've taken it to. The Bloodline is a family. They made it more about family. All right, their history goes back 3-4 generations long, but when you look at a fraction like Toxic Attraction, and you look at the members like Mandy Rose, who really, before she came to NXT, she was kind of, the WWE was losing focus with her. The WWE set her up with Sonya Deville, a longtime tag partner, and that only went so far. Okay, she went into this love scene with Otis, and although I was pleased and entertained by it, it didn't captivate me in the long run, because although Mandy Rose could move on, you envisioned her moving on as, let's say, an old WWE term, as a diva, and kind of similarity of what they've made Dana Brooke out of. Okay, and so we all know that when you're portrayed in professional wrestling as a diva, you're not going nowhere. You can't go nowhere. Okay, you're only going to be looked at as a low class model that is only going to go so far. Going to NXT, becoming a part of the Toxic Attraction, and also being able to capture the NXT Women's Championship, dyeing her hair from blonde to black, and all this other stuff in between. Toxic Attraction, okay, has been able to take over the women's division in NXT by storm. Almost the same thing that the Bloodline has been able to do over this last year and a half. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, that was, for me, that was big. We had the finals that happened also last night on NXT. We'll tell you who won, who got her contract opportunity at a championship, and who could she possibly go after. And then we'll see, get you ready for AEW Dynamite tonight, because I still think the two biggest stories are, one, CM Punk having to step away and get surgery done after he won the AEW World Championship, which, in my opinion, that is something that they have this format for AEW for Forbidden Door on June 26th, in a couple weeks. And the format is kind of extensive. All right, it's kind of like a story or a tournament that you have to complete, and that we will find out by next week. And for me, the only thing I don't see is in there is that there's one person who lost that title a week and a half ago, and that was Hangman Adam Page. I don't see him getting an opportunity that I think he should get an opportunity. As a matter of fact, I mean, he loses the title, he doesn't get a rematch right off the bat. He doesn't, and if he's going to get an opportunity, he's going to have to face or be, get involved into the Battle Royal. And if he wins the Battle Royal, he's going to have to get himself involved and beat Jon Moxley, which then he's going to have to earn another opportunity. I don't think that should be the case, in my opinion, but I will break that down a little bit more, plus more to come here. Coming up next here, though, our Sportscadia set an article out there giving us 3 reasons why Bray Wyatt should join Judgment Day and 2 reasons why he shouldn't. Bray Wyatt says he's ready to return to professional wrestling. At where and what point is he going to go and what he's going to do? Is he going to carry the Fiend gimmick? A lot more of that to come. The throw-in will continue here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel here at the beginning of hour number 2 right after this break.
Build you up, you break me down, tear everything apart. I give you all I can, but then you go and break my heart. But this ain't true love, boo. But this ain't true love, this ain't right here, so I'm gonna leave you.
Hour number 2 begins now. You guys can download and take the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel with you wherever you guys go by downloading and listening to us on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. More availabilities will be up to date later. If you guys are also looking to download and upload episodes and get paid for your podcast, Spreaker.com is your best choice. Hour number 2 here on the throw-in, available on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And I brought to you 3 reasons why Bray Wyatt should join Judgment Day and 2 reasons why he shouldn't. Bray Wyatt has been out of action for quite some time, and there's been rumors that he's ready to come back. He's also made cryptic posts and tweets to fans speculating that he may be returning also to the WWE. The Eater of Worlds was released by his contract back in 2021. Since then, a lot has changed in the WWE. Which, talking about changes, all right, I just saw this article. I believe I just posted this on, hold on one second. I think I just reposted this on a tweet. No. Probably not. All right. Well, I pulled up something. I just saw expect WWE to have more releases coming soon. Who will it be? I don't know. What it will be, I have no idea. But expect that to take place. Anyways, I want to get back to this article. A lot has changed in the WWE. The Judgment Day has arisen. The WWE Hall of Famer Edge was the leader of the group earlier this week. They announced that Finn Balor was going to join, and then they kicked out Edge. So a lot took place. Below is 3 reasons why Bray Wyatt should join, and then 2 reasons why he shouldn't. Should Bray Wyatt fit? Should. This is one reason. Coming at number 5. Bray Wyatt fits the dark aesthetics, and that is true. The first thing to look at when you're considering a superstar for a fraction is the casting. Does whoever the star in question fit the gimmick? For Bray Wyatt, the answer is wholeheartedly yes. Bray looks and acts the part. You think all the stuff that he's done with the Wyatt family, and then also all the stuff that he's done with the character The Fiend. Judgment Day. And you think about this. Here's also something else you should think about. Damian Priest earlier this year came up with a alter ego persona character of his. Finn Balor has the Demon as his alter ego persona. Bray Wyatt also has the Fiend as an alter ego persona. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that Rhea Ripley can't have an alter ego persona, but it wouldn't be likely to see that happen down the road. All right. Judgment Day is a dark and ominous faction. All right. Dressed in dark colors, they come to out of the dark lighting while showcasing their badass attitudes. Their personalities are villainous. Wyatt has also had a dark attitude too, even if he portrays it in a less obvious way. The sinister side is always on display. Add his anger from being tossed aside and released, and he would absolutely fit in this group. Now, back on Monday, I threw out a whole bunch of names, or back yesterday, I threw out a couple of scenarios. I thought maybe, okay, well, Edge being kicked out, Seth Rollins could fit this picture. You think of the feud that Seth Rollins and between Seth Rollins and Edge, and why this could be an elaborate plan for Seth Rollins to begin with. You also consider and put in consideration that you think about Edge's feuds coming back. His matches and his feuds are limited with his injuries, with his age, with his contract. You can simply see another feud if Bray Wyatt comes back to face Edge, and I think that would be a feud that a lot of people will like to see as well. Coming in at 4, something that maybe he shouldn't be a part of. He should be a face. Okay? Here's the reason behind it. The Eater or World shouldn't be brought in as a member of the Judgment Day to their role on television. The faction is villainous, so they do bad things on a regular basis to whoever opposes them. While Bray Wyatt has his own villainous past, fans obviously adore him. He is the biggest merchandise. He is a big merchandise mover. He regularly trends on Twitter, and the WWE Universe is still hoping to see him return. With that much good will from the audience, Bray should be a face if he does indeed make a comeback. The alternative approach could be, instead of having Wyatt join the Judgment Day, he could instead pair up with Edge to combat them. The two evil stars battling another evil group. It could be very entertaining indeed. And let's remember, this article is coming from Sportscadia. You can find this on our YouTube pages. We post it up there as well. These are 3 reasons why Bray Wyatt, if he comes back, he should and shouldn't be part of the Judgment Day. Okay, I think I've covered a lot of this already. Now, if you start looking into Bray Wyatt not wanting to join, I feel like he has more time on his hands, so I don't think that this fraction will hurt him. You could also turn this fraction into a good fraction. I mean, when you think of good villainous fractions, I think of guys like, at some point, the Shield was also a villainous character that, or group of men that were also adored at some point. You think of the Brothers of Destruction, the Minister of Darkness at some point, um, all played some sort of sinister role, and that, over time they grow to among another. I think right now it's difficult to, I find it difficult to give me a reason why to boo Rhea Ripley or even Finn Balor. These are two fresh opponents that, for me, that they just have not done enough to make me want to hate them. Damian Priest, on the other hand, he's been acting this way since January. Um, we always also thought, and I guess here's also the other confusion, because remember, Edge, for the first 3 months of the year leading up until WrestleMania, he played this different side of him, this different character that I think a lot of people enjoyed watching, probably in an imitation of the Brood back when he formed with Rangel and Christian. I think people are used to seeing that, and they want to see that. And right now, you've taken that away. Okay, and unless you're planning on bringing back Christian at some point and reforming the actual original Brood team, I don't see why they are so quick to can this character or can go in the direction that they have also gone in. Coming in at number 3 on another reason why why Bray Wyatt should join Judgment Day. All right, the Fiend will also add credibility to the faction. Edge being mercilessly assaulted by Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley has changed the dynamic of the Judgment Day entirely. Previously, the group had an iconic star who led new stars of both day and tomorrow. Priest and Ripley are elevated via their association with Edge, while Balor, Priest, and Ripley are all plenty incredible. They aren't already Hall of Famers like Edge. Like the Rated R superstar brought both credibility and longevity to the faction that is now gone. Bray Wyatt joining the faction would help return some of that missing credibility and longevity. Bray isn't yet in the WWE Hall of Fame, but he's a multi-time world champion who has bedlined numerous pay-per-views and premium live events. All eyes would be on Bray Wyatt if he returned, and that means they'd also be on the Judgment Day. All right, here's something else I want to add on top of this number 3 moment here. Bray Wyatt also has had numerous of successful fractions in the past as well. You think of the Wyatt family in the extended part, his team with Randy Orton all in the spotlight. Those have to play into account. Or you talk about credibility and longevity. Edge has had different societies, and you think of the Brood, you think of you think of his storylines when he was paired up with Vicky, Chavo, Zach, and Kurt back in the day. He's had different fractions. Yeah, he's well known. Bray Wyatt is also well known of handling groups of people and leading them to the promised land as well. I want people to make sure that they also understand that. Number 2, why he shouldn't be part of the Judgment Day if he comes back to the WWE. He's been associated with others for most of his WWE career. All right, so that is a downfall factor. He hasn't had a lot of single run action. Bray Wyatt is very familiar with fractions, and just like I mentioned here. So I just told you how it would work. Well, this is, according to Sportscadia, this is a reason why it wouldn't work. He has been closely associated with Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman, Alexa Bliss, and even Eli Cottonwood during his tenure in the WWE and on NXT. In the previous gimmick, he has also closely linked with the Nexus. Some may consider his association with stables, and others act as more of a reason to partner up with the Judgment Day. While he does fit in with groups, many fans just want to see Bray Wyatt on his own. Either as the Fiend or as the Eater of Worlds, Bray doesn't need to surround himself with others to success. Being on his own would be a fresh approach, and the dynamic used too much of the WWE's tenor. Now, I want to yet again comment, because there's both ways to that statement. Okay? We've already seen, and it's already been proven, that Bray Wyatt does not need a group of people in order to have success in the WWE. We've seen through the Fiend. We've seen what he was able to do on SmackDown himself in the earlier days. He doesn't need to surround himself with a group of people. I agree on that. Okay, but here's the way I also like to see him with the Judgment Days, because I don't need to see him. For me, if you think of any other guy on the roster that is a Roman Reigns caliber, okay, besides Cody Rhodes, that has to stay in the line of Bray Wyatt. If Bray Wyatt returns to the WWE, which I would hope and pray that could happen. If he returns to the WWE, this is what you see. You can see him with the Judgment Day. You have a vast amount of people going to be supportive, because the tenor and the reasoning behind the longevity and the credibility that was built with Bray Wyatt. Yes, he's good with the team and leading the team. And you think of a person like Rhea Ripley, who's had multiple opportunities of success and has failed yet time and time again. Maybe this is the guidance that she needs. Damian Priest at the same time. Finn Balor, who's never could get a break. And you think about all the potentials that could come. Finn Balor and the Demon taking on Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. Something that I think we've talked about numerous times again on programs such as this one. Bray Wyatt joining Judgment Day, you don't need to see him in ring action each and every week. You need to see him on premium lives, and that's when he's going to perform, right? But the magnitude, just the if factor that he provides at ringside is much greater than Edge, and is at the same caliber as Roman Reigns. That may be a bold statement to say, but it's the truth. Coming in at number one, why Bray Wyatt should join the Fiend the Judgment Day, is that the Judgment Day may need a leader. And I will tell you right now, 100%, especially after kicking out Edge. With Edge now out of the group, who is the leader moving forward? The leader could end up being Finn Balor. I don't see that happening. He is the veteran of the faction. That's true. Priest may be in charge due to the punishing presence. After dropping the U.S. title to Finn Balor, I don't think so. And Rhea could also lead the stable, which I don't think so, because she has a dominant personality. No. Okay. Let me throw that out the window already. Instead, although maybe Bray Wyatt could be the leader, okay? Bray Wyatt took control of the already dominant faction. They've taken over the WWE. He has done it before with the Wyatt family. And this stable may somehow be even scarier. That is very true. These are men that we already know what they're capable of. That is definitely scary, especially if you think that Bray Wyatt can bring even more out of them. Wyatt has more top-level experience in the company than anybody in the group. He'd been able to mentor them and lead them to the levels they've had yet reached. In Finn's case, he's Rentrondis. All right, the Prince of the to the Promised Land. Bray leading Judgment Day would skyrocket their careers. That is very true. If Bray Wyatt does return to the WWE, there's a wealthy of options where to go with him. Whether it's Eater or Worlds will return isn't yet known, but the star joining the Judgment Day seems like it likely if he does. Now, here's the last statement before we cut the break on this factor here. I really believe Bray Wyatt is one of those it factors. He should come back, in my opinion, the Eater of Worlds. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see him be displayed as the leader of the Judgment Day, have a feud with Edge, and just carry out Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should also be able to keep the Fiend in his back pocket. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Next year at WrestleMania, going Hollywood, I would love to see a feud between Bray Wyatt as the Fiend and Finn Balor as the Demon. I think that would be a match that would be history in the making, in my opinion. I think we've called for that many times. Multiple people have played that match on the WWE video games and foremost. I do not see Bray Wyatt joining any other promotional brands that is elevated like AEW or Impact Wrestling. I just don't think that there is enough creative control to allow him to do what he wants to do. And what he's built with the WWE is substantial. It's huge. It's magnitude. You think about building things such as the Wyatt family and his own single career as Bray Wyatt, and then the Fiend. You can't go replace or imitate that anywhere else, in my belief. So, all right, you guys can find that article on the TNC Sports Talk Facebook page. We were going to take a little break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about two subjects that happened. NXT saw a return of an athlete. We'll let you know who that is. Plus, can anyone stop the toxic attraction? Mandy Rose seems to be unstoppable in NXT. Plus, we'll get you ready for AEW Dynamite tonight. Still more to come. Thank you guys for watching and listening to the throw-in right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. All right, TNC Sports Talk would like to give a shout out to Epidemic Sound, where you can discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts and music good result. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. Check out epidemicsound.com for more information. The song you'll listen to, The Rat, Not the Tail, by Harry Edvino. Given to you thanks to Epidemic Sound. Throw in here on a Wednesday morning. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right. We are finally at the aftermath of In Your House NXT's Premium Live on Peacock this past Saturday, where we saw a couple of different things take place. We saw Braun Breaker retain his NXT championship. We saw Carmelo Hayes defeat Cameron Grimes to recapture the North American championship. And we saw Toxic Attraction, both of them, both the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and we saw the Gigi Dolan and JC Jane retain, and Mandy Rose retain her NXT Women's Champion title. Okay. Now, couple of things coming into this. This is one thing I want. A couple of questions I was wanting to ask coming into NXT 2.0 last night was one: why did Cameron Grimes lose the title after a short run with the North American Championship? Okay, why did Cameron Grimes become champion back at the Stand and Deliver? It was a Stand and Deliver. Okay, back in April, and at the next very pay-per-view or premium live, whatever you want to call it, he drops the title back to the former North American champion, Carmelo Hayes. Now, I really don't know the reason why. There's a couple of theories that I have projected. Please let me know if you got if there's another theory that you have in mind. One theory that comes to mind for Cameron Grimes is one: we knew the backstory. We knew how important this championship meant for Cameron Grimes to come in and win it. He did it for his father, he did it for his family. It was his long lost dream. But I got to ask is, I mean, when we really saw Cameron Grimes win this, I could see him as a champion. I wonder if NXT sees him as a champion as well. Or I wonder if NXT sees him as a champion, but they see Carmelo Hayes as a bigger and better champion. He's maybe a champion that's more brought through. Now, Carmelo Hayes has been a champion for quite some time. I thought it was definitely appropriate. And there was a lot of contenders, Solo Sikoa and Tony D'Angelo, all those opportunities for these other guys to win the championship. Well, now we see we're going back to square one, where Carmelo Hayes has now won the title back from Cameron Grimes. And now where do we go from here? A theory of mine is the title was only put on Cameron Grimes because of the backstory that we knew about him. Another story is that they're planning on moving Cameron Grimes somewhere, maybe to the main roster, or they have another approach to him. Either or, I really don't know the direction of the NXT North American Champion, but I do feel comfortable, and this means no disrespect for Cameron Grimes. I feel more comfortable with Carmelo Hayes as the North American Champion because, one, I've seen him carry it with more prestigious and integrity. Two, I think I'm just used to seeing Carmelo Hayes and calling him the North American Champion. So that is something to keep an eye on. I still haven't gotten a clear answer. I don't know if we're going to get a clear answer for a while. The second thing that has came to the approach going into last night was who was the next guy to step up to Braun Breaker. Okay, you think of all the guys that he's had to overcome, from Dolph Ziggler to to Tommaso Ciampa, to previously, Joey Gracie. Now he's getting the opportunity to comes out last night. He's ready for the next challenge. He's ready to go. Okay. He's calling NXT his home, and this is where he belongs. And that's fine and dandy for now. But one second. Okay. But I am also in search. So let me rephrase it here. Braun Breaker beats Joey Gracie at the In Your House Premium Live event for NXT back on Saturday. He comes out last night, and he is now setting an open challenge. He's waiting for the next opponent to step his way. And who makes his re-debut back in NXT? Apollo Crews. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's a lot of things that I like with this. I could see Apollo Crews being back. Now, we noticed that over the last year and a half, that there are certain talents that when they're not being utilized on the main roster in the WWE, they get brought down to NXT. We've seen that with Ember Moon. We've seen that with Mandy Rose, and we'll talk about her in a second. We've seen that with Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler. Now we're seeing it with Apollo Crews, and I tell you, I could have been more happy to see that with Apollo Crews. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Commander Aziz. The last time I really saw a clear image of Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, I was back closer to the time to WrestleMania. Last time I really got a chance to see them in action was when Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz were facing Omos. Other than that, I felt like that character kind of went down. I did enjoy the character for a little bit when Apollo was the Intercontinental Champion, but there was no movement on the title. There was no movement in the feud with Apollo Crews itself. He comes back down to NXT, and Apollo Crews is excited to be there. He's had some unfinished business, never been the NXT champion, wants to go seek that out. We don't know what the direction may lie for him, but he's answered, as of right now, Braun Breaker's challenge. And it looks like these two guys are going to have fun going at it as well. And Apollo Crews got a chance to have a match last night, teaming up with Solo Sikoa, and it was an incredible performance by both men. And Apollo Crews just looks like one of those rejuvenated athletes stepping back into the ring and taking care of business once again. Apollo Crews and Solo Sikoa picked up the victory. Last night, what I saw was a very talented, very athletic. Reminded you why he was so athletic and why you were a fan favorite of Apollo. And I just feel like NXT has that energy and has that upbringing vibe that is going to give him the abilities to show off more of his talented skills. And I hope it's also something else that we could see a long term. I want to see him down at NXT for almost a year. I kind of start thinking that these athletes are this may be a weird analogy. I'm going to compare them to baseball players, because when you think of a baseball player coming up from the minor league system to the major leagues, they jump off to a great start because they're new. This is all fresh to them, and no one's ever seen them before. So, especially like pitchers. But after a few months, people acclimate to them, to these players, and they become regular average Joes most of the time. Well, when you look at base pitchers, you look at position players, what needs to happen? For example, what's going on over with the San Diego Padres with C.J. Abrams? He starts off the season. He has a tremendous spring training, which should be expected. They decided to give him an opportunity in the majors, and then he started settling in. And as he started settling in, his average goes down. He needs to be revamped again. He said, okay, let's go back down to the minors and let's see what we need to work on. I feel like the same thing with the WWE. You bring these guys up and they get that 5 minutes of fame. Maybe that 2 to 3 months pop, and then they start settling in. When they start settling it in, you got to go back down. Find what they need to work on. Find what they need to get better at. Maybe they're not better on the microphone. Maybe they don't know how to finish a match, or they don't know how to work out of trouble. Whatever the case may be, they need to be able to go back down and have that time to readjust. Look at Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose was brought up with Sonya Deville. For the longest time, they tag team Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, and they became co-parent with each other. At some point in the line, what ended up happening? They ended up separating. Sonya Deville ended up taking a step away. Mandy Rose got lost in the shuffle. She got into a Divas relationship with Otis back in 2020 that led into some nonsense. And then right when people started buying into it and really supporting it, it snapped off. WWE just ended it right then and there. They had no reason for it. The best thing that saved Mandy Rose's career is changing her hair and going back down to NXT. Okay, which leads me into this next segment. Coming out of Sportscadia today, all right, one of the biggest things that they're saying here is right now, it doesn't look like anyone can stop it doesn't look like anyone can take the NXT champion, NXT Women's title from Mandy Rose. She has came from this beloved diva that people. I mean, Mandy Rose is a fan favorite. No matter what side of the field she's playing, I'm always going to enjoy watching her and the talent that she, the way that she works out there in the ring and the way she works on the microphone. But I really didn't get to see the real Mandy Rose until she went back down to NXT. And when I say the real Mandy Rose, I mean, look at what she's done at NXT 2.0. She's taken over the women's division. She's been the locker room leader, okay? And she's formed this fraction called Toxic Attraction, right? And when she's won, they won the women's tag team champions. She's won the NXT women's champion 2.0 ever since this started. She's came up and she's kind of revived it, and she's made it more promising. Here's an article that led here. I just want to read the article real quick. When NXT was relaunched, it was in its current incarnation. Fans knew right away that there would be a whole lot of changes. It was more than a mere facelift. It was more replacing the entire head. NXT 2.0 has not been the darling of critics and observers like its predecessors was, although the product has also been steadily improving over the last few weeks. They've blended some of their more promising prospects into angles with WWE veterans in there. The parent company's new approach has had more of an eye on development from their third brand rather than it being standalone show promotion onto itself. And what they mean by that is that they are more working on developing superstars, working on their promo cuts, working on their in-ring ability skills, working on their microphone skills, where they're even willing to take the WWE talent, main roster talent, bring them down to NXT to work with these talents. We just seen Apollo Crews. Mandy Rose is one of them that has came down and revived herself. And look what she has been able to work with. Former main competitor Mandy Rose was assigned to NXT and admitted all of these changes. At the time, most fans basically looked at this as a demotion and figured that Rose has fallen out of favor. Okay, except she didn't. Mandy Rose wasn't being sent down as punishment. She was there to help bring a couple of young stars up. Look who has come up since then that we have gotten to see. Her alliance with Gigi Dolan and JC Jane has elevated both young prospects as they captured and the NXT Women's Tag Team Champion. Meanwhile, Rose has been doing rather well for herself as well. She's held the women's title since last October, and she isn't showing any signs of vulnerability. As a leader of Toxic Attraction, Mandy Rose is dominating the NXT Women's division right now. The fraction has shown that there truly is strength in numbers. Since branding together, they've seen unprecedented success, dominating not just the titles, but also generating a lot of television time. Rose is clearly has a dominant personality, and her name carries a lot of sway because she's already appeared on WWE television. Most notable as a member as Absolution, originally with Paige and Sonya Deville. Upon Paige's departure, the remaining two members stayed together as Fire and Desire. Rose and her real-life best friend Deville never captured tag team gold and eventually disbanded. At that point, Rose stock couldn't have gone any lower. While she was clearly a great athlete and has the looks that WWE loves, she has yet to experience the same success as her competitors. They switched to NXT uh, the switch to NXT breathed new life to Rose in her career. It was almost as if she was down on the canvas and somehow beaten the 10 count, and she came up swinging. Today, she's the member and leader of Toxic Attraction, and she's holding the NXT Women's Championship. Now, I'll tell you this before we cut to break again. She's been through many opponents, and talking about the next coming up opponent, she's working with a lot of these young women, just like Cora Jade, who she's recently had a feud with. Roxanne Perez last night wins the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament and now has a future contract title shot with any women's champion. That could be the NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose. It could be Ronda Rousey on SmackDown. It could be even Bianca Belair on Raw. So as we move forward next week, we want to watch out and see who she chooses to face at this time. I'm obviously making that assumption, premature assumption there, that Roxanne is going to be taking on Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship at some point. All right, let's take our last break of the day. We'll come back and get you guys ready for for AEW Dynamite right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, welcome back here. Let's wrap up the show here on the throw-in on a Wednesday morning as we take you up until high noon. We'll be back again tomorrow as we are going to cut our week short because I have a doctor's appointment on Friday. I will not be here on Friday morning because of my doctor's appointment, so you guys can enjoy your 3-day weekend, and we will resume back next Monday. Hopefully I have some updates on if I'm trying to get back to work with my shoulder injury. We'll see what the doctor says on Friday. We take the last 10 minutes to kind of get into AEW Dynamite tonight. A lot of things are going on. I want to give you an update here. Adam Cole injury update when he is expected to return to in-ring at AEW. A pretty big loss from a guy like Adam Cole. When you think about it, Adam Cole is reportedly injured and will miss a few weeks of in-ring action. As noted, he was announced after AEW Double or Nothing that Cole and Jeff Hardy were removed from the Big 10-man tag team match scheduled to be for the post-pay-per-view edition of Dynamite from Los Angeles due to injuries. AEW did not elaborate on those injuries, but you can. When we talk about the latest, I'm not gonna talk about Jeff Hardy's injuries. While Cole did not appear on AEW Dynamite last night, but did not wrestle, Hardy did not appear at all. Okay. In updates, Cole is currently dealing with a shoulder injury, according to Wrestling Observer Live. The extent of the injury is unknown at this time, but AEW officials are giving Cole some time away from the ring to heal up. It is believed that Cole will be out until AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door pay-per-view on Sunday, June 26th. Don't know the timetable. We hopefully wish Adam Cole a speedy recovery there. All right, so two things I want to come out to you. So two things to take away last week on AEW Dynamite. That's going to be playing a crucial and big factor into tonight's AEW Dynamite here. Okay, after the notorious pipe bomb between MJF, that has cost him to leave the arena, was fled out of the arena. An edict issued by Warner Bros. To remove MJF from AEW promo spots. Now, he has been removed from AEW Dynamite's roster, or AEW's roster in general. He has been removed from any television promotion, video ads, or whatever the case may be. According to Mike Johnson, this was actually a report that happened back on Monday, okay, from Jeremy Lambert. More on MJF's removal from AEW. According to Mike Johnson's and PW Insider, reports there was an edict issued from Warner Bros. To remove MJF from all AEW promotion spots and commercials. MJF has been removed from the opening of AEW for AEW Rampage. I can only assume the same thing will be for AEW Dynamite. On Wednesday, AEW Dynamite, MJF addressed the frustration with AEW and Tony Khan, notably how ex-WWE wrestlers are paid more despite him carrying the company on his back. And at the end of his promotion, he begged Khan to fire him before calling him a making mark, okay, which was bleeped out. Okay, I'm not going to repeat it on our channel too. Don't want that to be bleeped out. The screen went black going into commercial break, and the segment was not mentioned again, along with being removed from AEW Rampage intro. MJF was removed from the official AEW roster and AEW shop. His promo was not covered on AEW social media, social and digital. Fightful will update more fan status as they know more information. We don't know. Here's the two concerns. We don't know whether this is one big work or if this is actually reality. If MJF is really out the door. Okay, I heard a Q&A session that he gave out to a crowd a couple weeks back. One of the questions were, would MJF be willing to go to WWE? Well, I'm thinking at this point, listen, do you blame MJF if what he is saying is true and he's carrying the company on his back and he's the second highest, viewing rate, each time he's on television? If all that stuff is true, then yes, don't you get frustrated? Absolutely. Okay. If WWE is offering you more money and more spotlight, and there's going to give you the face of the company, you think of seeing Cody Rhodes being out of an injury right now. Perfect time to come into the WWE is MJF coming to WWE and taking over Cody Rhodes' spot while he's injured. Why not? The Miz and MJF, perfect feud right there. Seth Rollins and MJF. You think about next couple opponents. Prematurely speaking, if MJF could be, in the WWE by the end of summer, you could see. I would like to see Seth Rollins and MJF. I think that would be a great first opponent to be facing when he gets in there. But that's still all yet to happen. At the end of the day, it could be one big work, which leads me to this, because AEW news coming from Ringside News, all right, fans think MJF's pipe bomb promo was better than CM Punk. Yes, I agree to that, because this is the CM Punk pipe bomb that dated back on June 27, 2011, nearly over a decade ago. Here's the difference. WWE has things tight-lipped quite often. It's very rare that you're going to see a guy that goes off script and be able to get that longevity of a time to be able to say what they want to say, all right, without being cut off. CM Punk did something that almost nobody has nearly done in a decade prior to that, and that was speak up on behalf of the company without knowing, all right? Most of the time when this happens, Vince McMahon or WWE, officials, they know what is expected to come. Hey, this person is going to talk trash about the company, and we're going to give them time, right? CM Punk did the opposite. No one knew what he was going to come out there and talk about. Therefore, he was, I feel, although this pipe bomb was better, okay, I think CM Punk still deserves as much credit because he did it with the company that you could least expect it to be done with. Talking about CM Punk, everything backfires in WWE, in my opinion, because Hangman Page loses the title to Punk back at Double or Nothing. Punk gets injured and is now out of action. Now, while Hangman Adam Page is in a regular one-on-one match, they're supposed to be, how are we going to resolve this interim championship? Well, now Tony Khan is completely separating himself, Hangman Adam Page, the former AEW world champion from the entire title picture as far as my understanding goes. And while he has a match later on tonight on Dynamite, here's the big picture. Punk doesn't have the title. They will have an interim title being announced at the Forbidden Door. A member from New Japan Pro Wrestling will take on a member of NXT 2.0 or AEW Dynamite. This is how it works. Tonight, there will be a Battle Royal that will kick off Dynamite tonight. The winner of that Battle Royal will take on the number one ranked ranked person, Jon Moxley, the next guy who's in line for the AEW World Championship, which the fact that Hangman lost the match and he doesn't get an opportunity, or he has to go work his way through a Battle Royal, I still find flabbergasting. All right, the winner of that match will face the winner of Hiroshi or Hiroki that will compete on June the 12th, which is this weekend. Okay, I believe this Sunday. So by the time we come on the air next Monday, we will have captured the understanding of who will face each other, whether from AEW and from New Japan at Forbidden Door. The winner of that match will be crowned the new interim AEW World Champion up until CM Punk returns. Now, we don't know the status of CM Punk's injury. It could take 3 to 4 weeks. It could take 6 to 8 weeks. We don't know. But from the understanding that we do have is once CM Punk does come back, he will be facing that interim champion to determine that new champion. I wouldn't be surprised. I told you guys this yesterday and Monday. I wouldn't be surprised that you see a New Japan pro wrestler carry that interim AEW World Champion in the time being until further announcement. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the throw-in on behalf of myself and the entire TNC Sports Talk crew. We want to say thank you and welcome you guys back in tomorrow morning as we hit you on a Thursday. Like I said, the Reds and the Diamondbacks kick off Game 3 coming up later on tonight. Thank you guys for watching the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.